So, here it is, the long-awaited LSAT. Apparently, some people became even so impatient they decided to spam the forum, just for the sake of spamming, even though that serves no purpose. But enough of that, onto the weapon itself. So, LSAT, like machine gun. Lightweight, small arms technologies. That's the name of the program that stands behind the weapon. Initiated in 2004, intended to develop lighter small arms and also lighter ammunition to give soldiers increased lethality and survivability during operations. So, in Play4Free, we have a rate of fire which accounts for 600 rounds per minute. So, pretty average, but enough to get you through most situations. So, no reason to complain here. And of course, it's fully automatic. When taking a look at ammunition, with most of those belt-fed light machine guns, you have a capacity of 80 rounds and 2 magazines. But with the LSAT, you have 90 rounds per magazine and 3 magazines in total. So definitely an improvement, and especially those 3 magazines give you a bit of flexibility because you don't have to spam the I need ammo emote every 10 seconds. So definitely a plus. And the reload time accounts for 5.7 seconds, which is the shortest reload time of all belt-fed light machine guns. And it makes it more comfortable to actually operate offensively, because you don't have such a long downtime as with, let's say, the M240 Bravo or the Piranha. So also a plus. Now onto recoil. So here we have for vertical recoil 1.5 and 0.8. And for the horizontal recoil it varies between minus 0.88 and plus 0.88. And when aiming down the sights you have a recoil reduction of 60%. And to give a reference, the recoil pattern is similar to that of the M249 SAW. So I would say it's quite manageable. And the stock that I have chosen here is a stabilized stock because it reduces the horizontal recoil, so you have less recoil and it's more predictable, and you virtually only have to worry about the vertical recoil. So very predictable, very manageable, very nice to have, especially for long range encounters. So onto deviation. First of all, you have a min-def value of 1.8, which grants you above average initial hipfire deviation. So it's a bit better than, let's say, the PKM, but in the end it's still nothing really special, so you should not rely on hipfire too much, and there's only a limited room where you can realistically use it and actually make a kill. So I would say only use it at point blank range. Aiming or sight deviation on the other hand is very precise, and you can hit your targets very reliably, so that's definitely a plus. But you have to make sure that you fire in short controlled bursts, because the firing deviation is absolutely catastrophic, because you have a gain per shot of 0.23 and recovery per frame of 0.035, and in total you need more than 6 frames to settle a single shot. And again, to give a reference, that is twice as much as you would need with the AK to set a deviation for a single shot. So make sure to fire in short controlled bursts, otherwise you will simply miss your enemy and waste ammunition. Now, this weapon being a belt-fed light machine gun with the classical support role, it has an aiming on sight time of 0.4 seconds, which is quite slow among weapons in Play4Free. So you need to be careful about how and when to engage, and if in doubt, always aim down the sights before walking around the corner. Better to be safe than sorry. As for velocity, here we have a value of 650 meters per second, so above average, makes it a bit easier to hit targets on long range because you don't need to lead as much. And if you further want to emphasize on that, you can use a precision barrel for a total velocity of 900 rounds per minute. Now, the last thing to mention would be the damage. So here we have, for initial, a damage of 24 to 28. Medium accounts for 23 to 25 damage, and for long range we have a damage of 20 to 22. And medium range accounts for 20 meters. Beyond that point, medium damage will start to drop off, and long damage is reached at 38 meters. Now, as for attachments, if you want a predictable recoil pattern, the stabilized stock is advised. However, if you want to lay the focus more on deviation and actually being able to fire the weapon for a longer amount of time, the balanced stock is advised because of reducing gain per shot and improving the recovery. So that's definitely what you want to use then. And as a side effect, you also have better hipfire deviation and also aiming on sight deviation. And if you want a mix of improving firing deviation, initial aiming on sight and hipfire deviation, and also a bit of recoil, the tactical stock would be a choice. Now, as for ammunition, if in doubt, you can always go with wiper magazines because simply more rounds per magazine and more damage. And with the LSAT, it's enough damage to guarantee a 5-shot kill on all targets in all situations. Even in the unlikely case that your enemy would wear body armor, it would still be enough for a guaranteed 5-shot kill. And depending on your HP of your target, you may even have a 4-shot kill, also depending on the range. But you should not rely on that. Simply calculate with 5 shots, and if 4 shots are enough, okay, nice to have, but you should not expect that. Now, the rapid aim red dot is not really required, but it improves aiming on sight time by 10%, so it only takes 0.36 seconds. A small improvement, but still an improvement nonetheless. And that's personal preference, but I simply prefer the open view, and it makes it easier for me to actually get a view of my surroundings and aim at the enemy. I find the iron sights a bit blocky. There's nothing wrong with them, but they just don't suit me. But if you like the iron sights, yeah, go ahead and use them. So, for this gameplay I was rolling with precision barrel, wiper magazines and stabilized stock. However, there is an alternative attachment combination that I would have liked to try out, but sadly I am missing one component: Piranha magazines. So we have a minimum initial damage of 24 and a minimum medium damage of 23. And Piranha magazines grant you a +4 damage for initial and +5 for medium. So for both initial and medium minimal damage you would have 28. Up to a range of 20 meters, which marks a drop-off start for medium damage. And when you use it in conjunction with close in barrel, you can even extend that to a range of 30 meters. And what is a minimum damage of 28 good for? It guarantees a 4-shot kill on all targets, unless there's body armor involved, but that is quite rare. And 1 shot less to kill means faster DPS, better ammo efficiency, less time you need to deal with a single target. It's definitely useful. So for a close quarter oriented build, that's definitely a worthy build that you can consider. Now my gripe is, well, technically Piranha magazines are available in that storage kit, but it also contains a bunch of useless attachments, but you never know, perhaps one day Piranha magazines will return in a sale, so you should keep your eyes open for that. Okay, so that's everything about the weapon itself. Now eventually those questions about its power will show up, and also those threats. Is it overpowered? Personally, I don't like the word overpowered at all, because in my understanding overpowered means to dominate completely, but the LSAT doesn't do that. Even the old L85A2 wasn't overpowered because it had that long reload time and that slow rate of fire, which it still has today. Overperforming, I guess that would be a more fitting term to use. And as long as those +3 weapons are around, there will never be a true balance. But enough with those negative thoughts. Is the LSAT worth a passage? Is it worth to use? Well, I would say it's definitely a nice weapon, and you basically have to worry about the price or decide for yourself. Are you willing to pay the price? That's basically the question that you have to ask yourself. The weapon itself is definitely capable. Alright, that's everything. Hope you enjoyed. See you around. Goodbye.